Hello and welcome to another Wargame Red Dragon video with me, Bubblebox, and today we're having a look at the third DLC again, this time having a look at the new Norwegian units. And please remember that the statistics for these units will be subject to change in the January window when they bring out the DLC for real, this being the beta version, but the units won't change, so I thought we'd have a look at the units for sure and see how they are functioning in the game so far. So if we start off with the logistics, and logistics wise we've got a new command APC for the Norwegians. A nice looking beast. It is 140 points, so it's quite expensive for a kind of armoured personnel carrier type CV. He's got a little Browning machine gun, which isn't going to affect our choice really too much when we're taking our command vehicles. But it has got a very nice speed off-road, which is always important for getting your armoured CVs out of trouble if they get spotted and artilleried, or even if a plane's coming towards them with a big bomb. You want to get them out of the way as quickly as possible, and they have got some decent armour to go with that off-road speed of 3 front, 3 side, 1 back and 1 top. So that's the advantages really, are the armour, the speed off-road, and the disadvantage is the price. And I guess the one you compare it to is the other armoured truck really that they've got, which is the M577 KPV, which is also armoured, not quite as fast off-road, with no armaments, and perhaps even the tank, which is only 120 points, which is better armoured but a bit slower. To be honest, you know, if you're going to pay 120, 140 points, you could just go with the tank CV, but it's a new addition, and it's a decent addition and something to consider. However, they have got themselves a very nice logistics chopper now, the A5, and I see a lot of players bringing this out. I have this in my Scandinavian deck now, which I've recently made. It's a nice, you get 6 of them, carries a reasonable amount of supply, and is fast, so it can fly backwards and forwards to your fob with great rapidity. I'm really liking this, and it looks really good as well. Moving on to the infantry, and they've got a lot of new infantry, 6 sets in fact. I couldn't fit them all in. They've got the FSKs, which is a Commando Special Forces type of infantry, and I think it's the only one they've got. Yep, so they've got a new addition, a new Commando Special Forces type infantry, carrying the lovely Eric's kind of medium range anti-tank gun with a very nice AP power and a good accuracy as well. And it's got the close quarters machine gun, it's got the decent primary weapon with a fairly high fire rate as well, a nice speed, a nice all-round special forces unit for 30 points, coming in a variety of trucks and helicopters for distribution around the map as well. Nice addition there to the infantry. And they come in, I think, 11 veteran or 8 elite, so pretty well vetted up when you get these units as well. Then we've got the, excuse my pronunciation, the Gewehrman 90s. Gewehrman 90s are an upgrade of the normal Gewehrmans, which they always had. And if we have a look at the stats, the primary weapon is exactly the same. The machine gun, which is not close quarters of course, is pretty much, I think, yep, the same. They are a standard rifle infantry, so the only difference is with the law anti-tank weapon. With the standard rifle squad, you're getting an accuracy of 30% and an AP power of 13, and with the upgraded 90s you're getting an accuracy of slightly increased to 40% and a better AP power of 16 for your extra 5 points. So it's really up to you whether you want to pay the extra 5 points for slightly better lore. And then we've got 2 sets of these fire support units. We've got the Stormingenoirs, and we've got the Stormingenoir 90s, again in a variety of trucks and helicopters. The difference again is the anti-tank weapon, the standard primary weapon, the AG3, with a not brilliant fire rate to be honest. However, the secondary weapon, or the, I suppose you would call it the primary weapon I suppose, because it is the one they're going to be mainly using on the battlefield I guess, is either the Eric's for the 90s, which has of course a much increased range over the 700 meters for the standard Carl Gustaf M2, a much better AP power as well. We're actually down a little bit, but the fire rate isn't. Yeah, I mean it's much of much. You do get this extra range here though, and the better AP power for your extra 5 points. Remember, they are only strength 5, so be a little bit careful with these. I tend not to use these much in multiplayer because as soon as they're sniped, they tend to be pretty useless if they've got like 1 unit left, or they get killed outright if they're only a 5-man squad and they're up near the front trying to snipe tanks and things. Next, we've got these guys, the Fallskjermjäger 90s. Again, these are, I think, an upgrade of the Fallskjermjägers. Yep, here's the Fallskjermjägers. So again, it's the upgrade. I think the machine gun, close quarters, very nice close quarters machine gun, the same. The primary weapon, the same. So it's the Eriks and the Carl Gustaf M2 again, as we spoke about before. So you're getting a better anti-tank gun weapon, basically, for the same price. Really? So yeah, 30 points for the Fallskjermjäger and 30 points for the Fallskjermjäger 90s, and I can't see looking any other differences in the stats, so I guess you'd go for the Fallskjermjäger 90s. Really, you get 12 of them guided Eriks missiles as well, so yeah, why not just go for the Fallskjermjäger, unless you guys can spot anything I'm not spotting here. I guess the suppression's a bit better, but apart from that I can't see anything. Of course there is a difference, isn't there? Yes, of course there is. The difference is going to be in the availability. So for the Fallskjermjäger 90s, you're going to be getting either 17 hardened or 11 vet, and the Fallskjermjägers you're going to be getting 17 hardened or 11 vet. Exactly the same. So a bit of a no-brainer there. Take the 90s, I guess. Moving on, there is one other one. It's the RBS Mark IIs down here, the anti-air units. They've got another anti-air units. Again, these are an upgrade of the RBS 70s with the same AG3 again, but a better anti-air unit with a better range against both helicopters, a nice range against helicopters actually of 2,800, and a better range against airplanes. The accuracy actually stays the same. The number of missiles is actually dropped by 2 to 6 instead of 8, and these things do run out of missiles quite a lot if people are flying aircraft over and above you quite regularly. Everything else is about the same, I think. Again, squads of 5 this time, not the 2 squads, so they're a little bit more survivable if left kind of fairly in a fair amount of cover. Even if they get an artillery hit, they may survive and live to fight another day. As far as the availability is concerned, the Mark IIs you're going to be getting 6 hardened, and the standard ones you're going to be getting you could get 11 trained actually, or 8 hardened, so you will be getting a few more of the RBS 70s than the Mark II, but you get the extra range. I don't know, sometimes it's better to have more of them to scatter around in places rather than, yeah, but you can make your own mind up on that. So moving on to the support, and like the other Scandinavian countries, we've got a lot of new support units. The first thing to have a look at is their artillery piece, the main artillery gun. They've got a new one. Again, it's an upgrade of the old one, and the upgrade really all revolves around the dispersion. Everything else is exactly the same, I believe. Yeah, I think so. Or slightly faster. I mean, 5 kilometers per hour is nothing to shout home about. Yeah, it's all around the dispersion really. A much tighter dispersion, almost half of the original gun, but it does cost twice as much for that. You get a few more rounds as well. You get 36 rounds compared to the old 28. So yeah, they've got themselves a decent artillery piece if you want an artillery piece for the Norwegians. We've also got some rocket artillery, the M270. If you want it, you can stun a huge number of things in a town. It is a big one. It's got 12 rockets, and so yeah, just a standard rocket artillery piece really. And then we've got this guy, the NM45. Not much of an addition really. It's just a truck with kind of an auto-cannony thing on the back, I guess. Can shoot at helicopters okay, with a fairly high rate of fire, so should certainly be able to stun them before it tries to take them out. It's got a stabilizer, it can fire on the move. It's very cheap. Against planes it's going to be limited, but can possibly stun them as they fly over, you know, being generous to it. But it's not the best unit. It's pretty nippy though. But again, as I say with a lot of these cheap, very cheap anti-aircraft units with limited range, would you find a spot for them in your slots unless you were actually doing a specific support deck? I doubt it. Finally, we've got this, the NASAMS, carrying 6 nice AMRAAM missiles, and I just want to compare this to the NOAA that you can get as well. So the NASAMS has got a range against helicopters of 2.8, same as the NOAA, a range against airplanes of 3.5, which is actually less than that of the NOAA at 4.550, and the accuracy is pretty much the same. The HE power is actually better in the NOAA, suppression's better in the NOAA, the reload time is exactly the same. The speed on these though is a lot better off-road for getting them out of trouble or firing them after you have to move them. So you've got a toss up here, you're paying 15 points more, you're getting twice as many rockets before you have to reload the thing, but you're getting a nerf on the range there against airplanes, which is really what these things are designed to take out, although they have got decent range against helicopters as well. Both are radar of course, so they need to be microed. So I think that's it for the support. Moving on to the tanks, and we have got a couple of new tanks. We've got the Leopard 1A5 NOs and the Leopard 1A5 NO2s. So these are now medium tanks. They've got a couple of medium tanks, standard medium tanks. The NO2, let's look at the upgraded one first. It's got a decent accuracy, a quite nice stabilizer actually, and a decent AP power. It's a decent medium tank of course. Armour not brilliant, and on the slightly lesser version, which is 10 points less, the gun is almost but not quite the same, although it is the same gun by the looks of it. It's actually got 1 less AP power, although it's exactly the same gun. So 1 less AP power, got a good HE power as well actually of 3, so it could be used as infantry support or shooting at infantry. Very nice, yeah. Poor armour though. Armour's letting these things down more than anything really, but the guns on them are, well, half decent. All the other stats are pretty much the same, I think. Moving on to Reconnaissance. Now this I'm really liking. I've put this in my Scandinavian deck, the AS350. And the reason I like it is it just looks really cool actually, and you get 8 of them, which is a lot for a recon chopper. They're pretty speedy, they've got very good optics, and they are very small, so they're fairly hard to hit. With a strength of 6, they can probably dodge a missile or 2 before they go down, as well as being pretty available at 8 trained. Then we go to the vehicles. You've got 1 new vehicle, apart from a couple of armoured trucks for the infantry. You've got 1 new vehicle, carrying a nice tow 2 this time. It's one of these little jeeps, only a strength of 5, can be used for sniping because the gun is so good, and it's now got a tow 2 missile firing out of its barrel. 4 of them. Of course the accuracy fan needs to be good because it's only got 4 missiles. The AP power is immense, but they have got no armour and they've only got a strength of 5, so as soon as they look at a tank they're going to die. So it's up to you whether you really want to try and use these things effectively or not. Unfortunately, Norwegian still have not got any helicopters, so we'll move on to the aircraft, and they have doubled the number of aircraft just as they did with the previous video. The first one of note is the F-16AM. Very nice air superiority with these very nice AMRAAM fire and forget missiles, 4 of them, long range, the standard accuracy and stabilizer of 60%, HE power of 5, decent reload time, very fast speed, air detection is exceptional, and they've got 40% ECM, which isn't too shabby either. And the good thing is you get 3 of them, 3 at trained or 1 at elite. Definitely go for the 3 at trained I would think, and just try to vet them up during the game if you can, if it's a long game. So a very nice air superiority fighter there for the Norwegians. Then we've got a standard napalm bomber, the CF-104. It's pretty standard. Yeah, it's a napalm bomber. They've got a napalm bomber. It's slow. It's got very little ECM. If it flies over any area with anti-air, it's going to die pretty much most, if not all of the time. So yeah, it's a napalm bomber. That's all I can say about that one. Then we've got this guy, the F5A Puff. I see a lot of these in games now as well. The last week or two, a lot of players have got these in their decks. They are steed aircraft, of course, with a range of 4,200 meters, and you get 3 of these, which is a really good availability for 70 points. Steed aircraft with 4,200 meter range. You get 3 of them, pretty damn good, and it can defend itself while it's flying around because it's got some fire and forget missiles. So as soon as it fires these off, you know, you can just evac it if it gets into trouble, and it's already got a couple of these on the way to the enemy that's shooting at it, and it can also shoot at those pesky radar guns on the ground as well. It's not the fastest thing in the world at 750, but it has got some ECM. Its air detection is very good as well. So yeah, a couple of nice aircrafts in the F5A Puff and the F16AM, and one standard or standard kind of napalm bomber. So that's about it for the Norwegians. Not the outstanding units anywhere like we did have for the Danish with the automatic and those nice anti-air non-radar guns that it's or missiles that it's got, but some decent units all the same. Certainly they're now stacked with some very nice infantry. So that's it from me today. Thank you all very much for watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you get anything out of this video, and I'll see you in the next one.